Okay, so good morning, intellectuals. How are you today? Okay, so today I'm just going to make a video about the book recommendation or the books I would recommend to people for people to read. Okay, this video shouldn't be seen as, let's say, it's not really absolute. It's if you don't like some of the books I've recommended in this video, feel free to comment. But these are books I would personally recommend to anyone who wants to start reading books. Some of these books are very, especially the, some of Theodore Dostoevsky's books, like this one here. I would recommend mostly his books. Okay, but let's start. Okay, so number one, Crime and Punishment. I would. This would be a very big mistake if I never mentioned Crime and Punishment from the get-go. I'm currently reading the book as I've mentioned in the previous videos, but okay, what you get. Number one, if you have the opportunity to buy this book, you're getting a lot for your money. Crime and Punishment is a great book, and I can't justify how good this book. This should be a 5-star book, and yeah, it deserves to be a 5-star book. All classics need to be 5-star. There are only a rare few of the classics that should be actually 4 or 3. But this one is a 5-star book, and please, this is a must read. I'm saying that if you consider yourself a reader, read this one. Although it has dark themes in it, you need to. Okay, it's like a saying that they have. Most people say, you need to go through the darkness to come out to the light, and this book does that exactly that. And please note that mostly the books that are here are either Collins classics or Wordsworth. And Wordsworth's books, I like what they did with the covers. They did very good, like, especially like changing the colors, uh, the the colors and the decoration, the way they decorated the books. Previously, the books were not that all that good. I think a lot of people complained about the covers previously. That's the next book I would recommend, My Experiments with Truth by Mahatma Gandhi. And please be informed that these books are going to be given their own videos, or more like, yeah, individual videos on like why you should read them, what I personally learned from these books. If you have noticed that there are a lot of bookmarks in these books, Mahatma Gandhi's book on, or his biography on his life, and I can tell you, this book is good. You're not buying a book when you buy this book. You're actually buying a friend. I felt like I was communicating with a friend when I was reading this book by Mahatma Gandhi, and how honest he is, it's very surprising. Like, Mahatma Gandhi is so honest to the point he doesn't hide almost anything from you. His mistakes, the challenges he was facing, and he wasn't trying to glorify himself like what most people do in the autobiographies. He was trying to show you the human side of himself, and I can't lie, I haven't justified this book enough, but I'm telling you, if you do read this book and find the opportunity to just buy this book, the physical copy, you won't make any mistake. But in terms of rating this book, I would rate it a 3.9 or 3.7, sorry, or rather maybe a 3.5. The only problem, it should be a 3.7, is because it's okay, it does get dry at the center of it, but it's a good book, no doubt about that. Then this one, 1984. It's a bit surprising how this book is banned in some countries, and I'm very much proud to say I read a banned book. Yeah, I'm very much proud to say that. So 1984 is an excellent book. This book, and you can see from the cover it has a cover, a gold cover there, a silver cover there, 1984. I can say that this book was pretty life changing, or let's say mindset shifting. I was very surprised at how political this book was and how philosophical this book was. Mostly political. Like, if you read this book and you know and you like politics, you're going to see a lot of things George Orwell explains about politics in this book. I see why this book should be banned. It has a, I see why other countries ban this book. There's a very good reason they do ban it, but it's a very good book. You're going to meet Winston Smith. It should be, yeah, Winston Smith. And he's and I've forgotten the female character's name. Forgive me for forgetting her name, but this book will change your mindset, and I can't give it much justice apart from telling you to read this book. How good it is, it should be a 4.8. 4.8. There are some things that I didn't like about the book, but 4.8 is what I give 1984. This is a great book. The Odyssey. Okay, some of these books I haven't really read them all, but the fact that I bought them is good enough. The Odyssey is one of those books that you need to read. What? Yeah, the Odyssey is one of those books that you need to read by Homer. I can't give this book enough justice. This is the Wordsworth Classics edition, and I, if you want to read the Odyssey, I suggest you find a readable version. I did find some struggles with the way it was written. This one was written. It was written more as a poet. Let's say something like that. And having a book that you can read is very good. So in terms of how readable it is, I'm going to struggle reading it because of how it's written, but it's a good book. I've I have heard a lot. I watched a lot about the Odyssey and read a lot about it. And the Odyssey is a five-star book. I don't have to tell you that it's 4 point something, or this should even be 5.1, because the Odyssey needs to be read by every reader. Before you die, just consider reading this book, because these are the books that changed the Western, that added to the Western literature, or that changed the West. Apart from changing the West, they just changed the world in short, because the things you learn in this book are things that you can't learn from most books that are written in our day and age. The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. If it wasn't for Mr. Benjamin on the Benjamin Book Club, you should try checking for Benjamin. He does book reviews on classics, and I can't lie to you, I wouldn't have this book if it wasn't for him. The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. I will say I'm embarrassed that I don't have The Count of the Monte Cristo, but I have The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas, and this book is instantly a five-star book, because let's be honest, Alexander Dumas is a master at creating classics. I think all his classics hit well. There are, apart from the Three Musketeers, there's the Count of the Monte Cristo, the Man with the Iron Mask. Uh, Please also try to read those ones, and also this one. I won't say much because I haven't read all about it, but the characters you meet in here, the characters are so life changing. Notes from the Underground. What can I say about this one? Dark humor. Yes, the dark humor in this book is it's too much. I I found myself laughing at the dark humor that was in this book. Mainly because, okay, Theodore Dostoevsky, compared to Tolstoy, I prefer to read Theodore. Theodore is a master at writing dark literature, and literature that is dark, but it changes you at the end of the day, changes your mindset. This Notes from the Underground has some of Theodore Dostoevsky's stories, like The Landlady. I would very much encourage you to buy the Wordsworth Classic, as you are going to also get some stories also in this edition, like The Landlady, Mr. Prohachin, and those stories are also good. It's surprising how good this man is. He's not just a novelist, but he's actually a philosopher, if not the world's greatest philosopher. Because apart from the Stoics, I have a deep respect for this man. For this man, the Notes from the Underground is a deep exploration of how we deceive ourselves as men, how we deceive ourselves as men, how we think that if we lived in a perfect world, we would be at peace. We would not prefer to engage in war or such activities. But Theodore Dostoevsky, what he does in the Notes from the Underground, he actually shows us that even in a perfect world, we would still we would still search for chaos. And he answers a lot of our questions. And it's surprising how you see the mindsets of the people, of criminals, or of people who do bad things. Like the underground man is is a very confusing character. He's sick, but he doesn't want to treat himself. He has a lot of things that are wrong with him. And this is an instantly a five-star book. A five-star book, as all of Theodore's books are five-star books. But please do yourself a favor and buy this one. Uh, this one I will save it for last. The Reigns of the Ancient Mariner and Some Poets. Okay, I mostly like covering my books just to prevent them getting scratched when I'm reading them. But I'll say that this book I haven't yet read it, but I would recommend it because it's a very good book. I would say I haven't fully read this book, but the poetry in this book is very good, and especially Collins Classics books are very much understandable. Uh, just do yourself a favor and buy this one. It is a small book, rather, should be 80 or 70 pages. You can read this book in some hours or a day, but it would be a very good investment because what you learn from poetry is a lot. You learn a lot from poetry. You learn a lot from the minds of people who have left this world. And poetry has a lot to say. That's in Virginia Woolf. What can I say about Virginia Woolf? This was a five-star book. Virginia Woolf did a very, very good job with this book. I fell in love with her work, To the Lighthouse. I fell in love with her characters, especially with Mrs. Ramsey and Mr. Ramsey. Um, okay, especially Mrs. Ramsey for some reason, but the characters are so relatable. The story is so simple, but at the same time so touching. You get to see a host of characters. She gets to teach you about human nature. She gets to teach you also about the complexity of human emotion, the changing of life. It's weird how the book, you start with the entire family at the starting of the book, just for the whole family to be dissembled or disorganized in the other part, should be in chapter 2 of the book. This book, if it's not touching to you and you've read it, I would suggest that read it again. But this book, if you're even starting reading, like if you have never read actually a novel and you're starting to read, try reading this book. Try reading this book. Uh, should be there was a quote here from this book. There are a few quotes. There was a quote that I liked in this book. Just like to share it. Does the progress of civilization depend upon the great of a generation? That was a good question asked by Mr. Ramsey, and you're going to find such questions from this book. But this book needs its own video. I can't give it justice in one video. Dante's Inferno. I think this was my first classics novel or book, and Dante is one of the contributors to the Western literature, to poetry. Apart from Shakespeare, Dante was well read as well. I think this book is a very good book. Don't watch the movie. The movie is rubbish, but read the novel. The in fact the novel, yeah. This this book is it's a novel, but mostly it's a poetry. Uh, the type you buy, some write it as a poetry, Some it's a novel. This one is written in form of a novel, and I found it very understandable. It's very deep, and I can't lie to you, it goes deep into human sin, hell, the wrath of God. And if you're a Christian, please do yourself a favor and read Dante's Inferno. Never, don't call yourself a Christian, a full Christian, if you haven't read this book. It's, it needs to be read, especially if you're a Christian. Though I'll give it a 4.5 because of my lack of understanding, but this book is a five-star book, but I will give it a 4.5 mainly. But it's a great book. The poetry of the art, a portraits rather of the artist of as a young man. What can I say about this novel? I haven't read it, but I would recommend it. James Joyce is a great, and I mean a great author. If you have never read one of his books, try to start with this one or Ulysses. That one's a great book. Sherlock Holmes. I won't give this book the justice it deserves. I haven't read it, but I can just feel the aura of this book. Sherlock Holmes is one of those characters that even if you are not a fan of novels, like you know instantly who Sherlock Holmes is because of how good the author was in writing him. Author did a very good job at writing this character, and I can't give Sherlock Holmes himself justice because he's close to a real character. There's something I can say about fictional characters. Fictional characters are more real than real life characters because the level of impact makes them stay alive for more centuries, or for give them more relevancy than people who are living. That's how funny it is. And Sherlock Holmes is one of those characters. This is instantly a five-star book. Um, The Legends of Sleepy Hollow and Other Stories. Haven't read this one yet. It's a good book though, but I'd give it 4.3. 4.3. But do try to read this one. If you're interested in thriller, horror stuff, horror stuff, try reading this one. It's a very good book. I'm very ashamed to say that I don't have great expectations here, but I have The Tales of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was the Shakespeare of the Victorian literature. And to be honest, if you don't have any one of his books, try to buy one. This is instantly a five-star book because Charles Dickens is very good at what he does, at his job in writing. Although it's sad that he couldn't write more books because of his abrupt death after the train accident, but it's good that he left us with some of his literature, his life-changing books. Although he mainly used to write novels that were mostly focused on, okay, they are not that dark, but they did focus on human nature and stuff like that. And this book does a good job of telling you about just a great adventure. But this instantly should be a 4.5, and not a 4.5, but rather a 4.8. I haven't really read this book, but 4.8. The Moonstone. This is a good novel, though I haven't read it, but I'm going to rank this book at 4.7. Though I haven't read this book, it's it is an adventure, and it is about okay, it's mystery, mostly mystery. But I would recommend this book to people who like mystery, adventure, and also people who have read who's this one? Who have read Sherlock Holmes. Try to read this. This one finally. The man himself, Theodore Dostoevsky, Brothers Karamazov. And wow, look at the size of this thing. That is a total of 800 pages. This is a big boy. This is the greatest novel ever written, The Brothers Karamazov. And it's for a good reason that it's the greatest book ever written. Because there's no other book in Western literature, even African literature, even Eastern literature that should surpass this book. For great minds like Friedrich Nietzsche, Einstein, and Freud to say something about this novel means this novel, there's a lot that has been packed. And looking at it, the final novels like 1994 and The Brothers Karamazov, like the final books of their respective authors. I believe there's something that goes into the last books of authors. Yeah, there should be something that they add, because every last book of an author is that good. That's the funny part, and I can't lie to you. This book is that good. I haven't read this book, but this book is not 5 star, but it's 6.5 out of 5 star. Okay, this video is long enough. I thank you for watching this video intellectuals, and see you for another video. Thank you for watching the video.